Imagine that every moment of your life, from your first heartbeat to your last breath, already exists as fixed events in a four-dimensional structure. In this structure, time doesn't flow, nothing comes into being, and nothing belongs in the past. There is only a vast static map called space-time, and everything that has happened or will ever happen is already there. This is the block universe, and in this video, we're going to walk through it step by step. Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome back to Biblical Reality Check. As we learned in the last video, we normally think about time as a flow. The past is what has already happened, the present is what is happening right now, and the future is what has not yet happened. In philosophy, this intuitive picture of time is called presentism, where we feel like the past is gone, the present is real, and the future doesn't exist yet. But physics is about what's actually there, not just what it feels like. But to understand the block universe, we need to upgrade our picture. Instead of thinking of time alone, we need to think in terms of space-time. Let's start with space. It has three dimensions: up, down, left, right, and forward, back. Time adds one more dimension: earlier, later. All four together form a 4D structure called a block. When we say block universe, we're saying something very specific, which is that all events, past, present, and future, exist together as parts of one static, four-dimensional structure. Nothing is added to the block as time passes, and nothing is deleted when it becomes a past event. The block is complete unto itself. From the Big Bang to the last photon that will ever be emitted, every event is already a fixed coordinate in space-time. For example, your birth is at coordinate A in space-time. This moment right now is at coordinate B, and your last heartbeat is at coordinate C. All three coordinates are equally part of the space-time structure. They don't wait to exist or stop existing. I realize that our language struggles here because we're used to saying things like will exist or used to exist. But for the block universe, we need to learn to talk differently. Events don't come into being. They simply are. Each event is at its own space-time coordinate. The phrase, all events coexist, may sound a little confusing, so let's break it down. When we say all events coexist, we mean they all belong to the same static structure, even though our consciousness only experiences them one after another. Here's an analogy that may help make the idea clearer. Our intuition tells us that time works like a flowing river. The future is upstream, the past is downstream, and we as individuals are like a leaf being carried along by the current. However, the block universe says time is not like a river. Rather, it's like a landscape. The mountains, valleys, and paths are all already there. You, as a traveler, move through the landscape, experiencing one location at a time. But the landscape itself doesn't grow or shrink as you walk. This may cause you to ask, if there's no flow of time, does that mean there's no difference between past and future? The answer is not quite. The block universe keeps the ordering of events as follows. Some events are earlier than others, some are later than others, and some are simultaneous to one another in a given frame of reference. These relations are built into the geometry of space-time. What disappears is the idea that the universe is changing, by adding new events as time passes and one heads into the future. In other words, the ordering is real, the becoming is not. However, inside the block universe, you are not a little point moving through time. You are what physicists call a world line, which is defined as a geometric curve that traces your entire history throughout space time. In the next episode, we'll zoom in on the idea that you're a world line. But for now, just keep in mind that the block universe contains all world lines, all events, and all histories as one fixed geometric whole. One end is your birth, and the other end is your death. Every point in between is an event in your life. From the block's perspective, your entire life is already there as a single extended object. I understand if this all feels counterintuitive to you. We as human beings experience change because things seem to update. We feel like time is a flow because we feel it passing. And we feel like the future is a vast array of possibilities because we have not experienced it yet. However, the block universe says those feelings belong to the way consciousness moves along a world line, not to the structure of space time itself. A natural question to ask at this point would be, if all events already exist in the block, is the future already fixed? Well, that depends. From the block perspective, the event where you choose coffee instead of tea is a point in space time. The event where you later regret a choice you made is another point, and both choices are part of your world line. The block doesn't say you didn't choose, it says your choosing is itself an event in space time. This may sound like the block universe erodes the concept of free will, but the debate about free will inside the block universe is a separate philosophical discussion altogether. The geometry of space time is itself neutral on the subject. It merely records what happens and doesn't concern itself with whether you could have done otherwise. For this part of the series, we're setting those philosophical questions aside and focusing on something more basic, what space-time itself looks like if reality is a four-dimensional block containing every event in the history of the universe. Whether one finds the block universe convincing or deeply unsettling, the central idea is remarkably simple. Reality is not a three-dimensional world that continuously updates itself as time passes. Instead, reality may be a four-dimensional space-time structure containing all events, where every moment occupies its own place within a single geometric whole. So, to wrap things up, in this episode, we've stepped back and looked at the larger structure. We've seen how space time can be understood as a block, why all events are treated as part of the same framework, and why the flow of time may not be a fundamental feature of reality itself. In the next episode, we're going to zoom in on one specific feature inside that block, your world line. If the universe is a block, then understanding your world line may be the key to understanding what your life actually is within that structure. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.